Hello and welcome back to my mapping series. I am quite excited because this might well be the final installment of my tutorial series before the release, because we are now finishing up the map, making it release ready. I just received new 3ds Max generated light maps for the map, which look great, and so there's not much to do in that regard anymore, and I can really finish the map. So the first thing we will do is add all the loading screen stuff. So one thing you need to do here is take a picture of the map that you can put into the background of your load screen, of your load screen. What I usually do is I take a picture of this starting camera location here. You have to get rid of the HUD. To do that, you press or you open the console and you write renderer.draw HUD like this, spacebar 0. Done. HUD is gone, then just print screen. And Bob's your uncle. If you don't want to take the screenshot at the beginning camera angle, you can also do the following. By the way, you switch the HUD back on like this, just the same thing, just with one. Let's say you want to take a nice looking screenshot of your map from a different angle. What you do is the following. You spawn in, you open your spawn menu, you deselect the spawn point, that's important, right? Then you commit suicide, then renderer draw HUD 0, right? Close that, press the spacebar, and now you can fly around like in the editor. Note this does not work on an online server, just if you think you can cheat like this. It only works if you use your local server. In that case, this is enabled, and you can fly around and take a screenshot from whatever angle you want. It should, of course, if it's for the loading screen, it should be some nice looking area, and think of, the rules of 3 and all that kind of stuff, but yeah. Anyway, let's set it as the background screen. Alright, we are back in GIMP. Yeah, first thing I have to do, because I forget this every time, I still have the FPS counter in the at the top. Normally just switch that off. I'm too lazy to redo it now. I mean, what can you do? Usually I just copy over a piece of sky, maybe stretch it a little bit, put it over there. Nobody notices. Done. But if you're more clever than me, you can do without that part. Next, you have to bring it into the correct size. This is kind of annoying. In Battlefield 2, the standard size for this, I think, is 512 times 512 pixels. And so it's just a perfect square. Obviously, this is not a square, so it will look stretched on some settings, no matter what you do. I usually square it down from my resolution. So for me, on my screen, it won't look stretched, or anybody who has the same kind of what's the word? You know what I mean, the same kind of type of resolution than me, it won't look stretched. For the others it will. It is possible that at some point we will rework the menus and fix this. In that case, this tutorial will be outdated, but for now this is how we do it, even though it is not necessarily the best way. So yeah, we will scale this down too, and make sure you deselect this so it actually stretches it or smooshes it together in this case. And here we go. And this you export as loadmap.png, and just best resolution. Okay, next you go into your level folder, into the info folder, and this is where you put that. Just put it in there and it will load. So next up, what we have to do, inside the load screen, as you might have noticed, there is also at the top right corner, or in the top right corner, there's this square little image that tells you what the map is called, and sometimes if it's a CMP map, it will say CMP on there, that kind of thing. This is usually not done by the mapper in our team. Instead, some 3D artist does a render for that, and I think, I don't want to say it wrong, but I think Matt Baker did that for me this time. I know he did it for me before. Anyway, I do have a prepared picture for that. Okay, and this is the picture that he made. So it's basically a 2D background with historical photos. This is all taken from the Reshev's battles, not necessarily from Operation Mars itself, but from that area and time. I think this was actually during Operation Mars as well, these two, or at least this one. And then some nice 3D renders of weapons, the RPG-40, because that's new and for now will probably only be used on Operation Mars. Unless I think Flippy wanted to put it on the Finnish maps as well, I think. Maybe? We will see. Point is, looks nice, and we will add that now. And done. You have to put in one of these for each layer. Now, officially, or for official maps, we do the same for each layer, so we don't include information about the layer in there, because that would kind of increase work. And at this point we have so many maps that retrofitting all of them would be a giant pain in the ass. Not to mention that if we ever changed one of the layers for balance, for example, we might have to then update that as well, and it's a whole headache. So we're not doing that. That said, it could be kind of cool. So you have to name them like this: GPM CQ 16 for the 16-player layer, and then menu map, and then 32 or 64 for the other two layers. And that's basically it. Has to be as a PNG and a complete square, and that's all there is to that. Next step, Minimap. We use this old script for that, or these old scripts. You can find these on the internet. If you're making a map and you need them, you can also ask me for mine. Basically, these are text or conf files that the editor can start and use as a script. I put them into the normal BF2 folder normally. The one we will have to use is make megamap 1024 times 2. This is the script if you want to type it up yourself. Now what this does is, down here, it makes a top world screen, or rather 4 top world screens in the 4 corners of the map. The reason it has to do it 4 times and at the corners of the map is because if it just does one from the middle, for some reason some objects at the edges, especially vegetation, won't render, so it won't look as good. The drawback here is that we will have to stitch these together. That's not hard though, I mean every idiot with skim can do that. So it's not a big problem, just that's the drawback here. Alrighty, we are back in the editor. So, in order to make some nice minimap, we have to first switch off the gameplay layer. Then switch everything else on. Undergrowth, well, undergrowth actually doesn't matter, but overgrowth does matter. Then, I mean, I think the script does that automatically anyway, but a renderer min cull distance, let's say, I think 5000 is what the script uses. And I think the other stuff, normally if you don't use the script, what you also have to do is static mesh renderer, no lots, 1. So that nothing loads out. You don't want low detail objects on here. Next thing you do is build all final roads. So you click on the road tool. Wait for that shit to load. Here we go. Build all final roads so that the roads properly show up. Next thing. Now I don't have to do that on this map, but next thing you have to do is, and be careful not to save that by mistake, but you have to take your water, Operation Mars water settings. I don't have any water on here. Seawater level is at minus 10,000 because, it's kind of cold. But if you have water, do it -1, so you have to lower it by 1 meter. Otherwise it will look weird and out of place, believe me. Okay, so that is that. Next step. Object custom texture mode. Op Mars here we go. Wait a bit, wait for it, and there we go, that's loaded as well. Then, after that, you have to make sure that the overgrowth shows up. This is buggy in the editor, so you have to do the old trick that we also did for the env maps. You select some box that is completely small and without, so it doesn't take too long, and generate a medium or whatever light map. You just have to generate one light map here, delete that after, because you already have your final light maps. But yeah, you generate that shit. Okay, so next up what you have to do is click on Tools. Under Options, go on Miscellaneous. And here you can put in the string, not the string, the file path, that's the word I was looking for, to your script that you want to use. Put that into custom command file 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. Okay, here we go, we did that now. Then you go to Tools, Custom Action, and then execute the command. Did I forget anything? Probably. Let's do it. And now it's doing it. In fact, it might already be done. I'm not sure. It does take a bit because it has to execute quite a few commands. Yeah, as you can see, it is doing something there in the background. By the way, you should... I mean, my computer, I have 32 gigs of RAM, so that's fine. But if you don't have a computer like that, be careful that you don't have too much shit going on in the background, you know, like making a video as well. Because I think this can be quite taxing on your PC. Alright, I think that, nope, still going, see, now it's doing the second one, I think. But yeah, in the end, I already did it before. You have 4 pictures here in DDS format that you have to stitch together. Megamap 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here we go, Bob's Your Uncle, the final Operation Mars minimap, unless I forgot something, but it does look fine. A few pointers: if you have large water areas on here, it will look weird with this method. They will basically be divided into like 4 squares, so you will have to change that by hand. One thing, now looking at it, I wonder if I shouldn't make the whole minimap a bit darker than it is IRL, so to speak, just so the text shows up better. You know what, actually I will do that. Alrighty, just a tad darker. Next, what you do is rescale it to 1024 times 1024, just through here, because that's our standard minimap size, and you don't really need a bigger one. And export it to the in-game map inside the HUD folder. We only use the in-game map because you can't really zoom in with like a satellite view on our commander function. If you make a map for PR or normal battlefield, you will have to do that as well in different resolutions. No idea how that works. And here we are. So this is where you put it in Operation Mars. So level name HUD minimap, and as a DDS file. Yes, right, I think you don't compress it. You certainly don't need any MIP maps. Let's try it out like this first. Yeah, that looks correct. So it should be 4097 kilobytes in this case. I would say, let's look at all this stuff in-game. And in-game. Looks nice, I think. Let's click on Join Game to escape the copyright strike. And here we go. New minimap in-game. New menu in-game, obviously, also looks cool. What I still have to figure out is how I make this flag disappear, but have this hint text still there, that the Russians only have 3 KV1s. But other than that, yeah, very nice. Alrighty. Now, to close out the video, I think I will leak something again. As you all know, there will be a T60 on this map. Now, it's not completely implemented yet, so there will be minor changes to it. but this is a T60 tank. Nice pink tracers. Need to be careful not to overheat that shit. Reload takes quite a bit, so it's actually a fairly unique tank. And it also can have exactly one tank rider. So yeah, as I said, there will be minor changes to it, but that's basically how it works. Anyway, what can I tell you? This is, I think, probably the last video in the series, at least before release. I would consider the map in this stage now releasable. You know, with that little exception here. But other than that, I would say it's done. Obviously, after release, there will be probably fixes to it, and I might make more videos there. But other than that, well, isn't that nice? So if you stuck with the series from the beginning, thank you. Actually, this might be a good chance to re-watch the very first one. I think I started this map in 2019. So maybe watch the very first one in the series with the planning and so on, and see how it started and what the plan was and how it actually ended up. But other than that, thanks for watching and have a very nice day.